So this past Thursday morning, pretty much all of the Soul Fusion cards were revealed. I guess there's like a convention going on, and Konami has displayed every single card in their actual TCG printed form, and it's really exciting. There are some cards that we'll talk about in another video. Fright for Patchwork is finally released in the TCG. Probably too little too late, but it is still very exciting to have that card. It seems like Konami is trying to end some of the memes right now. They gave us Stratos back, they gave us Fright for Patchwork. That's all really exciting. We'll actually have an entire video about Patchwork coming up. But in today's video, I wanted to focus on the Danger cards. There are 6 of them, and I just want to kind of go through and talk about what I think about these cards. Do I really think that this is going to be the next Burning Abyss? Do I think it's more close to Subterrors? After looking at these 6 cards, just kind of a spoiler alert, I'm still kind of undecided. I think a couple of these are extremely strong, but I think a couple of them are sort of showing signs of the Subterror issue, where their effects aren't actually that impactful, and the real reason you'd be playing them is just like, oh, their stats are good or their level's good. Well, unfortunately, in 2018 Yu-Gi-Oh, that's actually not good enough. You need to have a decent effect as well. But I do think some of these cards are good, so let's just start off. And I think that the one many people have already seen is Danger Thunderbird. This was released or revealed in a Game Informer. I don't really know how Konami decided to do that. It seems like a really strange choice. This one was revealed like a week ago or 2 weeks ago now, depending on when this video goes up. And yeah, it's basically Bigfoot. It has the same level, it has similar attack points, and its effect is extremely similar, although instead of destroying a face-up card, it destroys a set card. One thing that's really important about this card is that it says destroy it. It does not say destroy that target. Why is that so important? Well, it's so important because with the way that problem-solving card text works, if your opponent chains the card to Thunderbird's effect, even though it is no longer face down, it'll still be destroyed. That is something that really makes this card much better than a card like Atlantean Marksman, where Marksman says destroy that target, which means if your opponent chains a card, they don't actually have to destroy it. So this card's pretty good. I think going forward, this card will help maybe be a side deck pick for pure Danger decks. And I think it's something that we have to think about when we're talking about the Danger cards. Currently, the most often that Dangers have been played is in another deck like Burning Abyss or like Dark Worlds, and then also we've seen it splashed in a Spiral deck. Although that wasn't the full engine, it was just 3 copies of Jackalope, 3 copies of Nessie. So far, pretty much all of the Danger monsters have been played except for Chupacabra, a card that most people exclude. But as far as Jackalope, Nessie, and Bigfoot go, they seem to be pretty darn good. And I think Thunderbird is kind of up there. I think right now one of the biggest issues with the Danger Dark World deck, or there's the Danger decks in general that I've played, is beating back row decks. It's actually really hard when you don't draw cards like Red Reboot, especially if you're playing the Danger BA with Light of Sekka. Well, then suddenly you don't really play Twin Twisters or Evenly Matched. I mean, you certainly can side deck those cards, but at least in game 1, I think 1 copy of Thunderbird to search out with Nessie seems like a pretty safe bet. Next up, I don't want to wait any longer because when I saw this card, I almost cried. It is so cute. I love this card so much, and it is Danger Tsuchinoko, Tsuchinoko. I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing that correctly. This is the best card I have seen in a long time, and we're not even talking about the effect here. Just look at this thing. It's so chubby. It has these cute little eyes. I love this card. Oh my gosh, I have gushed on Twitter about this card so much at this point. It's just crazy. But just look at this thing. It's so cute. Oh my gosh, I love this card so much. When I saw Danger Jackalope, I was really excited as well because that card was really cute. It seems like every Danger release, they do 3 sort of actually scary cards and then 1 that's supposed to be cute. Even though Danger Jackalope is very cute, I have to say that this card definitely beats it in the cuteness factor. I pretty much just want to own as many copies of this thing as possible. This might be my new favorite card from this year at least, but definitely my favorite card of the set. And really cool as well, this card actually is pretty powerful. So it has the regular Danger reveal effect, and that's all fine and dandy. But what's interesting about this card in particular is that its discard effect is pretty much the same thing as the revealing effect, and that when this card is discarded, you get to special summon it immediately. That's really powerful. It's the first danger card that special summons itself. If we think of Jackalope, it can't special summon itself. If we think of Chupacabra, it can't special summon itself. So this is a really big deal, and it basically means anytime you have this cute little card in your hand, this little snake, anytime that you have this card, you guaranteed are going to have a level 3 monster on the board. I think that's really exciting, and I also think it's very competitive in a Burning Abyss deck. Another strategy that I'm thinking about this card going into, I think a lot of people have Phantom Knights on their mind right now. We have the new Legendary Hero decks coming out this coming week. I guess Europe already has them. There was like some shipment errors because of a hurricane in the United States, so I don't have hold of that set yet, but eventually I will. And there are some new Phantom Knight cards, and one of the cool cards in Phantom Knights is the new Link monster, but it takes 3 monsters to make, and obviously 2 of those monsters can just be like a normal summon a Phantom Knight, special summon Boots, but where do you make that 3rd monster up? I think this cute little snake could be the answer. I think if you play, I don't know how many of these danger cards I would actually want to play, but at least something I was sort of theory crafting was 3 copies of this and 3 copies of Jackalope, so just the cute danger monsters, maybe like 1 copy of Bigfoot and a couple copies of Nessie just for utility. But I think in general we now have this sort of rank 3 quote-unquote engine, obviously not something as powerful or splashable as Speedroid Terratop, but I think at the very least, if you're trying to put 1 level 3 dark monster on the board while also having some potential for an upside of discarding a Phantom Knight, this card seems really strong. I like it a lot. And also, yes, this is, I mean, I can't stop. It's so cute. I'm just looking at the picture right now. I'm just like, this is the most adorable card I've ever seen in my entire life. So if you want me to sign a card at future events, this is the card that I want to sign. This is like the funniest. I love this card so much. We have to move on though, so let's talk about the next danger card, which is Danger Mothman. A lot of people have already made the joke, and I will too. I'll just address it. Obviously, the moth meme is really big right now with the whole lamp thing. I don't have to explain that too much. That's kind of what everyone is talking about with Danger Mothman. Overall, the card isn't too bad. It's pretty much literally a Dark World dealing effect on a card. Keep in mind, all these danger cards have the same reveal and hand effect. It's just their discard effects that we're looking at. And yeah, this one is literally just Dark World dealings. In some ways, that's cool because it means you don't really have to play Dark World dealings anymore, technically. Obviously, if you're still playing the Dark World version of Dangers, you'd want to play dealings. But I think as a one-of, it can be interesting. Not every single card that gets released has to be a 3-of. I mean, there's obviously a pretty big bar set up, a pretty high bar set for these danger cards because the first release was so good. You had 3 really powerful monsters. But I think that Danger Mothman is okay as a 1-of, but maybe it isn't actually good enough to include. So I think 1 to 0 of this card probably. I wouldn't expect this card to be too much more than just a meme, and honestly, that meme is probably going to die out by the end of next month. That's just how memes go. But for the time being, expect a lot of people to talk about this card, specifically relating to the meme, not so much how good or bad it is. Next up, we have Danger Dogman, and to be completely honest, this is probably the weakest of the new Danger monsters. This is the last Danger monster that they're releasing in this set. They always seem to release 4 monsters, 1 spell, and 1 trap card. This is probably just the weakest of all of them. Basically, all it does when it's discarded is reduce all of your opponent's monsters by 1,000 attack until the end of this turn. I don't see that being very useful. Attack and defense really doesn't matter in Yu-Gi-Oh! Too much. It's nice when cards do give bonus attack, but that can't be like their main effect. That's not really what you're trying to do. I don't expect this card to be played at all. One thing that is worth noting is that this card actually does have Monarch stats. I don't think that'll ever come up, but technically you can do a lot of the Monarch combos using this card. For example, you can reveal it for Tenacity to search something. I don't think that actually matters, but it's worth mentioning because anytime a card has Monarch stats, it suddenly fits in with all these other cards that are already existing. Next up, we have Danger Response Team. This is a normal spell card, and it says target 1 danger monster you control and 1 monster on the field, return them to the hand. And then a second effect is if this card is in the graveyard, you can discard 1 danger monster, place this card on the bottom of the deck, then draw 1 card. So it's sort of like an upstart goblin almost. You can only use each effect once per turn. What's important to note here is that you can use both effects in 1 turn. You can activate this card to bounce 2 cards and then immediately ban it or put it in the bottom of your deck to discard a card. What's also worth noting is that even though the initial effect is a -1, the actual discarding effect, the drawing effect, will give you a +1. You will, well, in some way or another, depending on which danger you discard, but in general, you're usually going to be getting a +1 from this effect. So overall, it's a 0 because the first effect is a -1. It kind of makes Foolish Burial Goods interesting to think about. I don't know if this card actually will be played. I think it's one of those cards that if a pure danger deck ever does actually become playable, this will be a card that you do include. However, in all the forms of danger that I'm currently sort of theory crafting, many of them seem to just be dangers with one other deck. It still seems like at the end of the day, the problem with the danger deck is they don't have like a win condition. They don't have like a big monster trying to summon. It kind of feels like playing Burning Abyss without Dante. Not to say that those cards are terrible without Dante, but you definitely need that. You need something to be going towards. I think that this could have been fixed by making that cute little snake a tuner monster. That would have been at least pretty good, but at the moment, even though they are releasing, if you notice all of the danger cards that they just revealed right now, all of them are the same level of the first 4 danger monsters that were released, which is pretty cool. So obviously you can do some Exceeds plays, but I still think in general the card that I want for dangers is like a Link monster that has some crazy effect, like when you summon it or once per turn, you can discard a danger monster to add a danger card to your hand. I think that's something that would really tie this deck together, but right now there's not enough cards, at least in my mind, to build a pure danger deck. So a card like Danger Response Team, even though it is good in a pure danger deck, I don't think the deck actually exists. And lastly, we have Second Expedition into Danger. This is a trap card, kind of disappointing compared to the last trap card that we got, which is actually really powerful and still isn't played. So this one says, discard 1 card, then target 1 danger monster you control. It gains 500 attack and defense until the end of the turn. And then it has the exact same graveyard effect as the card we just looked at. That seems to be the direction that they're going. All I can think about when I'm looking at these 2 cards, specifically this one, is all I'm thinking about is, man, what if they put that graveyard effect on the first danger trap card? That would make that card so much better, and that would have been really cool, but maybe they didn't think about it until then. Kind of the same thing with this card. It has the same issue of that Dogman, where it's like the discarding to boost something isn't really that useful. I mean, yes, you are getting the effect of the card you discard, and yes, this card doesn't even have to discard a danger monster, which is kind of interesting, but in general, in what world are you ever playing this card over Danger Zone? I have no idea. I think that just in every single way, playing 1 copy or even 2 copies of Danger Zone would come up before I would ever consider playing 1 copy of this card. And honestly, in most builds of Danger, except for the Dark World version, because they really do take advantage of Danger Zone, but pretty much all the other builds of this deck aren't even playing that card, and that card's literally Graceful Charity. So I don't think a card like this is good enough, even though it does have an interesting graveyard effect. So at the end of the day, we have 6 new cards here. I think 3 of them are extremely playable. I think the other 3 are okay and could potentially get better. And I think that they're taking the deck in an interesting direction. I really just want to see some sort of extra deck monster, but I am excited that they released the best looking monster I've ever seen in my entire life. So that's really cool. And yeah, that'll pretty much wrap up today's video. What do you guys think about these new danger cards? Let me know in the comment section below. I think they're cool. I think they're versatile. I don't know if this is going to be Subterrors or Burning Abyss. At the moment, kind of looking like Subterrors. Definitely have already seen a lot more success than Subterrors ever have or ever will. That's worth noting that. I mean, Dangers already have several regional tops, and I think even a couple YCS tops, mostly combined with that Burning Abyss strategy. I don't know what it will take for an actual pure Danger deck to top. It might never happen. I mean, if we really think about a deck like Kaiju's that has a lot of crazy spell and trap card support that just no one plays, Dangers might end up being more of like an aggressive and versatile version of Kaiju's, not being so much used for spot removal, but just for extending combos of other decks. Thank you so much for watching though. I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.